Welcome everybody to our mindfulness session as part of the NPA conference. We'd just like to say, as part of our 100-year celebration this year, we are working with our charity partners, Mind, Inspire and Sam H. And we have Frank Liddy joining us today, who is the lead practitioner at Inspire, who will give us some helpful hints and tips on mindfulness, and we might do and work through some exercises. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Frank. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Ashley, and welcome everybody. Good afternoon to you all. My name is Frank Liddy. As what Ashley said, Inspire's lead mindfulness practitioner. And I normally describe myself as my name's Frank and I'm a recovering thinker. You know, one thought's too many and 1,000 is not enough. What I'd like to do for the next 20 minutes is to introduce you to, mindfulness practice, what it is, what it's not, who I am and who I'm not. And then we could also do, one or two exercises. And any questions, please pass your questions on to Ashley, who will then contact me and I will reply. Behind me here on the screen, hopefully you can see Vuja Day. Vuja Day. What do you think that means, Vuja Day? So turn it on its head and you have deja vu, that sense that you've been here before. But when we look at Vuja Day, this is mindfulness practice. We haven't been here before. This is the first time we as a group, the NPA and myself, have met. And that's called beginner's mind. And in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. And in the expert's mind, there are few. So with mindfulness practice, what happens is we find what I would describe as the art of falling awake, where we become awake, aware, alert, alive. But most of all, we become authentic. We become authentic to ourselves. What happens to mindfulness practice is, Frankie meets Frankie. What happens is we bring the mind home. We connect to this moment for the first time. There's a great poet called Derek Walcott, and he describes mindfulness in a poem, and it goes like this. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself around at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at each other's welcome and say, sit here and eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror and sit and feast on your life. What a beautiful poem. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself around at your own door in your own mirror, and each will smile, not frown, but smile at others' welcome and say, sit here and eat. When it comes to mindfulness practice, what we discover is that Frankie meets Frankie, Ashley meets Ashley, and so on and so forth. Because I know for me, what brought me to mindfulness was actually, I was always on the run from myself. I wanted to be someone else, somewhere else, doing anything else but being here, right now. It was almost as if I was uncomfortable in my own skin. And I remember back about 1992 in San Francisco, where I had a great Zen teacher who told me that I had two lives. And of course, being from Belfast, I wanted to know, when did I get my second life? And he told me you get your second life when you realize you've only one. You get your second life when you realize you've only one. And that's what mindfulness practice is. We let go of the stories that we tell ourselves. So it's not about having a plan B. It's about, treating this moment, this precious moment, as if for the first time, Our good friends in San Francisco and also in Stanford University, in their research and their studies in the mindfulness practice, they talk about the handy model of the brain. They talk about the lower brain and the upper brain. And they say that if there's a war between the lower brain and the upper brain, the lower brain would win. And what happens is we flip the lid. You with me? We flip the lid. But through mindfulness practice, then what we discover is that the cortex, the prefrontal cortex, becomes denser. And then we tend to respond to situations rather than react. Now, that doesn't mean to say that I'm going to be stress-free, but what it means is, if you've got two guys in a car, we're driving along, Someone cuts out in front of us, both of us flip the lid, but this guy here, the mindfulness practitioner, will recover faster, whereas the other guy will then tend to perseverate. This could happen, that could happen. We could have lost our lives, the car was probably stolen, they were probably drinking, probably no insurance, etc., etc., etc. So with mindfulness practice, then what we discover is we start then to bring the mind home, and in doing so, we come to our senses: sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste. It really is a simple practice, and if it's not simple, then it's not mindfulness. So now for a few exercises. The first exercise is I'd like you to sit upright in your seat. Adapt a comfortable, dignified, upright posture. Notice contact with the floor, your feet on the floor. Notice contact with your seat and how your seat supports your body. Notice the weight of your body on your seat. Back upright, not too tight, not too loose. Lower your shoulders. Head upright as though you're balancing a book on the crown of your head. And as you begin to settle into your body, sensing your body, notice any contact between your clothing and your skin. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to bring the finger of one hand up, almost like a pencil, to trace the fingers of the other hand. Like so. You breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out, so on and so forth. I'd like you to take about 1 minute to do this exercise and allow your breath to determine the speed of the finger. If you're breathing fast, that's okay. If you're breathing slow, that's okay. There's no right way and there's no wrong way. The way that you're doing it is the right way to do it. So be like so. You breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out, so on and so forth. And for the next minute, I would invite you to count your breaths. So be like, breathe in, breathe out, that's 1. Breathe in, breathe out, that's 2. Breathe in, breathe out, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the number is. There's no right number and there's no wrong number. So let's take 1 minute to practice this little exercise here, counting your breath. So I'm going to invite this beautiful bell sound. So I'll count you in, 3, 2, 1, I'll sound the bell, and then in 1 minute's time, I'll sound the bell again. So let's begin. 3, 2, 1. Count your breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. Thank you for participating. And hopefully what you'll notice is that as you continue to count your breaths like so, that your breath begins to slow down and begins to get longer. And then in doing so, we feel comfortable in our own skin. We feel more at ease with this moment. So this little exercise is called the task at hand. And again, I would recommend you to do it any time during the day. And it's a good way sort of to check in with what's called our autopilot. You know, the autopilot where you go from A to E, but you don't see B, C, or D. Yeah. So through that simple task at hand exercise, what happens is we can sort of notice, oh, look where I am. You know, I'm away off somewhere else, and then just bring our mind back to this moment, this precious moment. Exercise number 2. Again, just take a moment to settle into your body. Notice contact with the floor, contact with your seat. Back upright, head upright. Now take a moment just to notice where your attention is right now. Is there a story, planning, remembering? Now gently bring your attention, like the beam of a torch, to your breath, and allow your breath to take center stage. Notice how you breathe, the right way, no wrong way. No effort, no adjustment. Your breath is always present. Not a future breath, nor a past breath. Connecting with this breath. And as you breathe in, follow the in-breath to where the in-breath ends. Then notice where the out-breath begins. And let go of the out-breath as you breathe out. Like a wave, rolling onto the shore and returning to the ocean. Sensing the ebb and flow of your breath. Breathing in, being present to the in-breath as you breathe in. Exhaling, letting go of the out-breath as you breathe out. The end of the in-breath gives birth to the out-breath. The end of the out-breath gives birth to the in-breath. And if your mind wanders, notice and gently return to your breath. Thank you, thank you. Thank you all for participating. As I said at the beginning, my name is Frank and I'm a recovering thinker. So what we discover through mindfulness practice is that we're not our thoughts. Thoughts are not the mind. Clouds are not the sky. Go up in the plane through the clouds, you got a clear blue sky. So in bringing the mind home, then what we discover, it's almost like a snow globe at Christmas time. All shook up, you can't see a thing, leave it on the table, and the snow settles down and everything becomes clear. And with mindfulness practice, what we discover is we discover the clarity, and the clarity comes from insight. Because you intuitively know what to do, and you intuitively know how to do it. So it's with our daily practice. Another practice I'd like to introduce you to is just to be with sound. To be with sound. Again, take a moment just to check in with your body. Notice contact with the floor, contact with your seat, back upright. Lower the shoulders, head upright. Again, check in with your attention. Notice what's happening now. Now bring your attention to sound. Without judging, analyzing, or interpreting. Sounds appear and drift away. Your attention wanders, notice, and gently return to your soundscape. Once again, thank you very much for participating. And finally, an exercise that I would encourage you to do, at least once or twice a day, and that is by breathing in through the left nostril. Yep. And what happens is that allows us then to hack into our parasympathetic nervous system and releases the good stuff like the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Just like so. Closing the right nostril and then breathing into the left nostril. And then letting go through your mouth. Breathing in through the left nostril. Exhaling through the mouth. Breathing in through the left nostril. Exhaling through the mouth. Breathing in through the left nostril. Exhaling through the mouth. A simple but powerful, effective way of connecting with the parasympathetic. Well, sad to say I have to go. It's just turned 12:50. Any questions, please pass them on to Ashley. And for any more information, again, just request Ashley and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Until then, thank you for taking time. And I wish you happiness, that you may be happy, free from suffering and the causes of suffering. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Frank. We really appreciated your time on that, and hopefully look forward to having you back at another time. Take care. Have a good rest of the day. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.